Welcome to the Pitchwerks podcast. I'm Scott McTaggart. Over the last 20 years, I've been a sales rep, a marketer, a manager, an executive, a consultant, and an advisor. This show is designed to give you access to my list of contacts so that you can learn more about how to present your ideas at work and succeed in your career.
Startups and salespeople, marketers and managers from the Epicast Network in Pittsburgh. It's the Pitchwerks podcast.
BoXZY has upfront visual value issues when it comes to sales, right? It's a black box. And what I wanted to do was bring the experience of making front and center and let the machine fall into the background.
Okay.
And so, but in a way that allowed customers to go with their already present buying behaviors.
It's the Pitchwerks podcast. I'm Scott McTaggart, and I am surrounded by some of this program's finest guests. That's right. We've got BoXZY in the house. We've got Olga Pogoda back from wherever it was that she got sent. She is now a consultant for Kickstarter campaigns. This is going to be a great episode talking about where BoXZY's been in the last 12 months, where Olga's been over the last few months, and the brand new BoXZY product, which I'm not even allowed to know about. We're literally like trying to communicate in code here. They're calling it Project Flash for right now. And I guess we'll just have to see, where this takes us. They're going to be launching that campaign pretty soon, though, and I wanted to be the first one to have them on. Before we jump into what is certain to be a festival of question and answer and who knows what else, I'm going to ask you for ratings and reviews. Do me a favor. Let people know what you think of the show and whether or not they might like it. That's what I get out of this, and I would really appreciate you doing that for me. Social channels are out there as well if you ever want to hit us up or share any of our content with anybody else. We try to put everything out there so that it's real easy for you to tell people when they would benefit from one of our episodes. So yeah, BoXZY, Olga, we've got Anna. I'm not sure who Anna is, but we'll find that out. I think you're going to like this one. All right. So it's actually kind of nice. It's like old home week. It's, like Battle of the Pitchwerks All-Stars. I've got the BoXZY crew to my left. I got Olga Pogoda to my right. This is great. Welcome back into the studio, everybody. How you doing?
Good.
And we have a new face over there on the couch. Who are you?
I'm Anna.
Anna, who let you in?
You.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry. When you get older, you forget things. The Pitchwerks All-Stars here, you guys didn't get together for no reason. I understand there's a new project in the works, Project Flash. Who wants to tell me about Project Flash? Joel.
That's the code name.
That's the code name.
We won't reveal the true name for a while.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, you guys, you kind of have something that the rest of the market doesn't have in the fact that, BoXZY is a 3D printer and a smart carver and a laser etcher, and I don't think I've seen that anywhere else. And you're going to continue to sort of improve past that?
Yeah, so what I'm trying to do is create something that is a standalone product, but also contributes in addition to what BoXZY does.
Right.
So this thing is it's an entirely new kind of machine. It's a 3D printer, and it uses some of the same principles.
Yeah.
But the way it moves, the overall actuation, well, that's a big word.
That is a big word, and you lost me.
The way it moves, so the way that we started this product out was we started with a consumer.
Yeah.
Right. We started with the shopping platform and how people were buying.
Okay.
And we decided to create something interesting that was built backwards to the machine from the storefront.
Okay, I get it. So you were actually thinking in terms of the buyer and saying, how do I serve a particular part of the market?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. So largely the way that this came about was we got a lot of information from our customers from BoXZY.
Yeah.
Right. So that kind of empathetic interaction gave us a lot of perspective that we could move forward in the creation of a new product.
Dude, I'm so glad you're here. Seriously, empathetic is a really good word to describe that.
That was pretty big in our last discussion.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're one of the few people who's ever sat in here and actually talked about that, in terms of what is the feeling of interacting with the product? I mean, a lot of people have brought products through here in the last year, but Joel, I take it as the compliment I intend it to be. There's a real meaning in you wanting people to feel rewarded, I guess, in touching the, not just the product, but also what the product is capable of. The collaboration the first time. So you worked on BoXZY's original crowdfunding campaign.
Yes, sir.
And now you're doing this as your consulting. This is what you're focusing on. You heard when Matt came in a few weeks ago. What'd you think of all that?
It was great. I mean, his podcast was great. He had a lot of really great pointers for people who are interested in crowdfunding. And I think he's absolutely right. Crowdfunding is not for everybody. It's not for every type of company.
Yeah.
But when you have a really great product like Matt does and like Joel does, crowdfunding is it's a path of least resistance if you do it right. It's a really great way to prove to potential investors that you do have customers, that you can have sales. I do also, Joel, I don't want to speak for you, but I think we're in it to try to break some records.
Oh yeah, we're going for the single most funded 3D printer Kickstarter ever.
I think if
So what's
anybody
that
can
worth?
do it, it's Joel and Olga.
What's the number?
And Hadley. And
Hell
Anna.
yeah.
What are we shooting for? What's the number?
So the most funded 3D printer Kickstarter is $3.4 million.
Good God.
So if we get beyond that, which is very likely given the fact that we had a very successful Kickstarter to begin with.
Yeah, but that's a bigger number than I would have thought, honestly. I mean,
Really?
3.4, right? I mean,
That's so, I think that is
I guess-
such an easy figure to hit.
oh my God. I saw out of the corner of my eye.
She's like, be conservative, Joel. Be conservative, Joel.
Olga's making the slash throat motion over there, like I will kill you. It will never find you. I can't believe you said that into a recorder. So two thoughts on this, right? The first one is you got to talk about price point, right? What does it cost to get involved? And then the second thing is you have to talk about whether or not people feel like they can get into it, right? Like they trust you, they trust your brand, they trust the product that came before it, and you actually have that as an unfair advantage. You've been there before, they've seen your name before, and as Matt told us when he was in, you probably haven't stopped talking to the backers since the last campaign anyway, so luckily that's going to pay off in one way.
Yeah, so I mean, a past really successful campaign really gives us a lot of credibility. And to heed Olga's warning,
that wasn't a warning. That was a threat.
that was like, shut up.
That was a threat. I saw the threat.
So
the NFL literally banned that motion.
So, I mean, $3.4 million is something that is within the range of possibilities, very clear possibilities.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy because it's going to take a lot of work and we have to get a lot of things very correct, right? So we have to get the pricing, like you were saying, correctly. Yeah. So the entry point has to be correct.
I do want to mention one thing, and in regards to reaching this insane goal that we would like to reach on a personal level, I think BoXZY, one of the things that they've done so well is take care of their backers. Their customer service is out of this world. They're ingrained in the making community all over this country and really all over the world. So I think, when we pull a number like, oh, it would be cool to hit $3.5 million, it's not that crazy at the end of the day because they have spent so much time. They spent the last 2.5 years making sure that every single customer is happy. And I know, right, that can't happen, but they really go above and beyond.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that it's hard to hit a record number when no one knows who you are. That's something I cannot emphasize enough. The fact that you're a known quantity, that you were already trusted with over $1 million the last time around, and you came through, you didn't like disappear like some of these companies do after they run their crowdfunding campaign. The fact that people can see articles about you and they're positive. You've got good traction. You've got people that buy these things, use these things, build products, speaking well about you. It definitely reduces the friction for trying to reach for those bigger numbers. I think that thinking is actually right on target.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll let Hadley talk about the numbers, but so we are in a lot of different countries. How many countries are we in, Hadley?
We're in over 40 countries.
Hadley, the last time you guys were here, you were maybe struggling a little bit with, like what's the right way to use the hours that exist in one work week, right? It was a little bit chaotic the last time you guys were in here, and we were talking about like, okay, how do you want to go and approach somebody? And I think a year ago when we were all sitting around here, your preference, and I say you as you, the team, your preference was much slower. The awareness of the brand, the awareness of who you are definitely takes and speeds up that process. Am I right? Like, are you seeing that it's quicker now to get stuff closed than it was maybe when you were here last time?
Absolutely. It's funny that you mentioned how, I was interested in a slower approach
so how long has it been since the last time we were on?
It literally is about a year.
About a year. Since then,
You guys were like the 7th week we were on, right, of all time, right? And we launched the middle of October.
come a long way.
I know. Now we got more chairs.
But yeah, I would say that since in that year span, a lot of those slow build relationships, a lot of those things, those time investments and those things that we were making decisions on, and we weren't exactly sure if it was the right decision at the right time, those have all started to pay off.
Yeah.
And pay off big, especially in education. We are in schools all over the world now. In PA alone, we're in about 12 school districts. In the United States alone, we're about over 30 school districts.
Nice.
And we're starting to see repeat customers. We're starting to see referral business.
Yep.
We're starting to see people who got one for their high school purchasing it for their middle school, people who got it for their middle school purchasing it for their elementary school.
Yeah.
So really all that slow build stuff has started to pay off in a big way. And it really kind of made me feel good about the decisions that I was making at the time, and also sort of giving me a better idea for decisions to make in the future.
What's different that you see today from a year ago?
Well, my perspective is largely unchanged. I still really, really think that a sophisticated empathy is the way to go with products and the way that you handle customers.
Yeah.
And that in general, you should conduct your customer service and your sales like a relationship.
Yeah.
Right? What makes an effective relationship is the same thing that makes, solid keeps customers coming back over and over again. I would say that the thing that has changed most for me is that I have a great deal more confidence in my staff.
Interesting.
So I've always had confidence in them. I've always trusted Hadley. She's always had a great, a very, very strong role in our company from the very start. But we were talking about sales last time.
We were.
And Hadley specifically and Mary, they have taken customer relationships in a way that I wouldn't even say that I could go, oh, I could do that better.
Right.
I would say, oh, I couldn't have done that better.
That's fantastic. I love that feeling.
You would have showed me up hands down in this relationship. And in fact, they have gone and taken many of the school relationships completely off my plate, and they've developed entirely new school relationships. I don't even have to touch that anymore.
Yeah.
They have nailed it down so strongly, and they have built very, very close relationships across the board with starting with some of the relationships I built, and sometimes entirely on their own roots. That would be it. I trust Hadley and Mary to go out there and do those relationships as well as I do, if not better. So I started to ask myself what people were really asking for. I went around and I talked to a whole bunch of people who had purchased 3D printers in the past, and I figured out what they look for when they go about searching.
Yeah.
And so I realized something with BoXZY is a hybrid machine. So BoXZY, it works really well for a sales approach. Hadley and Mary going out and discussing it with schools and showing them how it meets their needs, right?
Yeah. Great job on the hands-on pictures and videos, by the way. I've been following them. They're fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So the thing that's different, BoXZY has upfront visual value issues when it comes to sales, right? It's a black box. And what I wanted to do was bring the experience of making front and center and let the machine fall into the background.
Okay.
And so, but in a way that allowed customers to go with their already present buying behaviors.
Right.
So people are out there already buying 3D printers.
Yeah.
So I asked myself, how could I do a 3D printer different and in a way that increased user experience in a meaningful way?
And I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm not asking this to challenge you. It's because I don't know. Can you feel it? Like when you're looking at the demo unit or the photo of it, can you feel the difference from, in the new product versus the original BoXZY? Or is it something that you have to see demonstrated? I'm
really glad you asked that. So when you really have to see it demonstrated. The image, the scale, the speed of the thing. You have to participate in the experience, but you can see it in an image. You can see it in a video, short video clip. It is a very demonstrable change in the way that 3D printing is experienced.
Needing people to sort of have that demonstration adds a little bit of friction. And again, I asked you to come in because you're sort of quarterbacking the crowdfunding aspect of this. How do you plan on bridging that gap, making people see the videos or making people see the demonstrations?
Well, I think a big part of it has to do with BoXZY's current following.
Yeah.
Right. They have a ton of people who are rooting for them.
Yeah, I would say.
Through via, social media here in Pittsburgh, and as Hadley and Joel said, really all over the world. So I think reaching out to them first and lighting a fire under their butts is really the way to go. And Joel and Hadley and I have had many conversations about this, because their backers, the BoXZY backers, they're really the ones that made this all happen. We're very thankful to them.
Yeah.
So we would like for them to be the first ones to learn about this product, to know what, where this new project is going, because it is truly incredible.
Yeah.
And so we want them to be the first ones to go online and say, oh my God, we just found out what BoXZY's doing. And this is part of the reason why we're kind of doing this very veiled reveal where
I'm not used to this look on you guys, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody's allowed to know what you're working on. And it's kind of
Exactly.
weird on me. I don't know what to do with this.
Yes, we're trying, to kind of keep as much of it quiet as possible, because it's so important for us that our backers are the ones that know about this first.
Yeah.
So I think once they know, it'll really light a fire.
So the problem with the repeat business is that some people don't want to stop using what they've already got, right?
Absolutely.
So are we thinking in terms of augmenting what they already have? Or is there a secondary market for BoXZY that, we don't want it to go on eBay. We want it to refurb through our bench. Just a thought. Right? Because factory certified refurbs might be an interesting way to go. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't work here, but I kind of think it kind of completes its own sentence. Because that is part of the challenge, right? Whenever you're going back to the same place that you were in, some people say what am I supposed to do with the one I have? And I'm curious what your thinking is there.
So this is a new kind of 3D printer, and it's a complementary product to BoXZY.
Yeah.
It is something that current BoXZY owners are going to want, and people who own other 3D printers are going to want, and people who have literally never used a 3D printer are going to want.
So, but it can sit right next to the original recipe BoXZY that they picked up last time.
Yes.
That solves the problem. That's what I was asking. If this is going to be one of those things where it's I'm asking you to tear the thing out that I sold you, right? You run into friction, right? It's I'm not ready to replace yet. This is the iPhone problem, where they're seeing people replace their iPhone less frequently now because there's not a good reason to upgrade.
Yeah.
So you guys went complimentary this time. All right. I did get successfully a nugget of information about the new product.
Well, we're trying to ask ourselves, like you said, look into the future, is what does the new shop look like? Mm-hmm. What does the new garage look like? The future, that bright, glossy thing of high-tech garages.
Yeah.
What we're asking ourselves is, how do we create products for that future shop?
Right. I mean, and I have to ask you, what do you think people are going to be doing in these shops? What do you think they want? And I'm not trying to get you to give up more. What I'm asking you is, it sounds like you're making an argument for essentially everybody to have a 3D printer in their garage, the way people eventually adopted a regular paper printer over time, right? When paper printers first came out, it was banks needed this, but we don't need a printer. And then before you know it, printers are $39. Printers are ubiquitous. They're everywhere. Are you thinking more taking it broader and mainstream?
I tried to create a function that was novel and it expanded the abilities of more experienced users.
Okay.
Right. So I wanted to create expansive possibilities. I wanted to expand the possibilities for people who are already using 3D printing. But my real serious concern is, how do I bring more new users into 3D printing, and in order to do that, they have to have something that helps them drive them through the creative process.
Yeah.
i.e. something that stimulates their imaginations. And one of the problems with 3D printing right now is that it may be capable of doing so many different things for the user. The problem is that it only inspires keychains.
Huh.
So what I wanted to do was, and that's really difficult for a new user. A new user looks at a machine and they they look at a printer and they're like, okay, what do I do next? And I don't want them to have to think about what they do next. I want them to immediately imagine it. And so this printer is meant to help a new user immediately imagine what they're going to do next. You know, when a new user looks at a 3D printer, they have to look at it in terms of pieces. If they want to do anything that's relevant at the size of their life, they have to think about how to break that down into little chunks. But normal people are not used to doing that. Engineers are used to doing that. Right. It's modular thinking. It's modular design. And we don't want them to have to think that way. We want them to build projects, not pieces to projects. I want them to immediately imagine what the next step is. I don't want them to have to think about how they break it down into the small box. I want them to immediately go, oh, boom. I know what I'm going to make.
So let me talk to you as a layperson, right? The last time that you guys were in here, you know, I was like, oh, you know what? I really need to get into this. And I still haven't done it, right? Now, part of it is because I don't have anything really compelling that I need to make, right? So part of that has to do with, you know, let's call it low motivation, right? But the other part of it has to do with the fact that I expect it to be highly complex, right? You know, and I've read some of the posts and things that you've written about, and this goes to both of you, right? You know, so Team Olga over here on the, you know, the crowdfunding, but, you know, grew up in the maker environment, and Team BoXZY, which is, you know, living in this every day. I see the words Autodesk Inventor and I go, this sounds complicated. I'm not sure that I want to devote however much time that takes. There's a part of me though wants to do this, if only just because I think that given the opportunity, I could find a bunch of solutions to things that nag at me. From a layperson's perspective, that's the gap for me. Does that make sense?
How to make your printer immediately usable.
Right. Because I don't want to put a whole weekend into learning it. No.
I mean, and you know, there's always a learning curve when it comes to 3D printing. There are things you need to know, like simple things like support structures and you got to make it fit the platform size. Yeah. We've kind of covered some of those things to make them easier. Yeah. But the usability feature of this is very, very high. I imagine this particular product being in architect studios for doing a different kind of design.
That's cool.
I imagine it being in Home Depots. I feel like the Dream Builder, am I getting that right? Is the Idea Builder? It's Dremel's product.
Okay. No
Their
idea.
3D printer. So they put it in Home Depots, but it didn't do very well.
Okay.
And I think one of the reasons that they didn't do very well was because they didn't design it like I designed the next product.
Real quick, in terms of sort of getting into those places that you were talking about, you mentioned some big box retailers that, you know, we're familiar with and those kinds of things. How's that? Is that plan even rolling yet? Or are you just going to take a wait and see after the Kickstarter, it's going out on Kickstarter, right? I just want to make sure I had the platform correct. So you run that determines, you know, sort of like how much demand there is and whatnot. At what point do you decide to start talking to traditional retailers? Is it 6 months after? Is it a year after? What's the trigger event?
Well, it's a lot easier to talk about whether someone's going to put it in their store if it's had a successful campaign.
Now we're talking, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so depending on the overall success, which we think is going to be very high, given, you know, a lot of very empirical factors, we'll probably very soon after that start looking at places like Home Depot and Lowe's.
Yeah. I mean, I love this. I would love to find you guys there. That'd be fantastic.
So I know you want to move on to distributors, but I think there's something actually really important about what we're doing that lends towards the distribution question, right? So there's obviously a very formal, calculated way in which you enter different kinds of distributors.
Yeah.
Or people who white label your product.
Well, and let's be clear. I'm not trying to rush you into it. What I am trying to do is last time you were here, we talked about how you go huge without having too many people and then having a diluted sense of purpose amongst the people that work there, right?
Yeah, I would never.
That'd be huge if you could pull that off, is why. I think that's one of your chief goals from what I understand of you is basically like if you could have, let's say 15 people, 20 people, you know, but they're being shipped all over to these different places where the buyer can see it, like you said, they need to anyway. It sounds like a lot of, you know.
Yeah, we're definitely really concerned about maintaining our company culture.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the way that we do business, it's about sustaining what we have as a family and community, right? So BoXZY is a very tight-knit community. every single life issue that everyone has in the factory, we know about, we're working with. I mean, at one point, Hadley was trying to figure out a home for someone's kitten temporarily so that they could move.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's what I'm saying. You can't do that with 1,000 people.
No, I mean, you could, but it's about how you break it up.
You can, but then you're not building BoXZs anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really important to us. To lose your identity in the process of growth is, I think, not only is it destructive to that community, that beautiful thing that you've grown, it's also destructive to a company.
Yeah.
Right. So BoXZY right now has a really fast mobilized core where we can immediately adapt to change, and where everybody is in some part with very specific roles attending to the problem.
Nice. I'm wondering what the current iteration of the BoXZY pitch is. Not this new flash hotness that they keep talking to me about, right? I want to know, what's the current thing that is being said to, say, these school districts? What's the value proposition that we're advancing to these people?
Well, I'm not going to answer your question right off the bat.
Wow,
start it a
someone
little
gained
slowly.
some media savvy in the last 12 months.
I will say, I think, and this kind of stems off of what you and Joel were just talking about, one thing that we've done really well recently, I mean, it's been sort of like a journey, is we've gotten really good at identifying, we've gotten more self-aware. We've gotten good at identifying what our weaknesses are and then leveraging those into strengths.
Nice.
So I feel like our pitch has evolved to incorporate what we had previously maybe thought of as sort of weaknesses, like our small size and, you know, this super, where it's a kind of scary technology. So we have figured out strategies to combat those things right in the pitch, so that they're not the first hang up
I love this.
the potential user has when they're confronted with the technology.
No. I mean, and we jokingly, just my little circle of friends, we refer this as the 8 Mile pitch, right? I think everybody knows why, right? And we're like, that's right. You know, my friend did shoot himself in the leg. If you put it out there out front, it gives them the opportunity maybe to become okay with it. Because if I, as the buyer, if I had to ask questions and expose it myself, it's as though you were trying to keep me from figuring it out on my own.
Exactly.
So if you sell an expensive product, you have to say, we are significantly, developed product for the luxury market.
If I don't get the reaction from a potential customer that, oh my God, that's a great deal, then I know that I didn't do my job right whenever I explain the product.
Really?
So there's something else. You said that beautifully, Hadley. That was masterful. But when she goes into her pitch, from what I've heard, and tell me if I'm wrong, when she goes in, she doesn't say, here's just an excellent product. She says, here's an excellent product, and I'm going to be with you throughout the process of this.
Love
thing.
that.
You're not just buying it. You're not just buying a product. You're being brought on board.
Yeah. No.
So-
I mean, I know that you feel like you're not doing it justice, but let me see if I can't buttress it with maybe some of my own findings, right? People would rather have a very well-supported middle-of-the-road product than have a Rolls-Royce that no one knows how to fix, right? And it's like, wait a minute, hang on. You mean I'm in this on my own? And what I'm hearing is they're buying a relationship with BoXZY, and it's almost like a service, right? It's almost like, that level of responsiveness is part of why they are so willing to part with their dollars.
Exactly.
So I have to ask the consumables question, right? I mean, we started to broach this, the last time we were all together. I mean, where are we on consumables? If I'm buying things from you guys, I trust you and I don't want to buy consumables elsewhere. I mean, are you moving into that space?
Yeah, we are. We have been consistently adding more products, replacement parts, modification parts, consumables, accessories to our website to round it out. And because we understand that people trust us. We've done a lot of work to get that trust, to earn that trust. So we want to keep them,
I've seen it so many times where people will only buy the replacement batteries from the people that sold them the original part, even if the replacement battery is sort of commonly available.
Yeah.
So that consumables thing, we're also trying to design. We're getting to the point where we can start designing products for consumables.
Yeah.
And we're going to need to start doing that in the future, where we're designing consumables and we're designing the products that run those consumables for those consumables.
That's fantastic.
So
I didn't even follow that, but it sounded awesome. All right, Olga. So I don't want to try to, get any more information out of these two. I think they've been very forthcoming. So I want to ask you a little bit more about the campaign. We're shooting for November. When you were putting the plans together, what did you decide to do as far as rewards go? Has that been decided? Do we know where we're at yet?
No, we're still in the process of talking about this. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but trust that there's a lot of strategic thought. And as Joel beautifully said, a lot of empathy that is going to go into the rewards. We want to make sure that the price point is very affordable. We want to make sure that each customer is getting something they can really use.
So, yeah, and I mean, the last time you were here, you were actually, in a different job doing something completely different. I am so happy to see you doing what you're doing now. I don't have any problem telling people that if they're planning on launching a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo campaign, they should be calling you. It's olgapogoda.com. If you can't spell it.
I wouldn't have done it if you didn't kick my butt.
I kind of did, but that's not just me. I mean, you knew that you needed, the program is a lot harder. And I said this to Matt Verlinich when he was in. They make it seem as though it's the same as selling something on eBay, right? Go ahead, take a photo of it, write some stuff down, put it in, ask for money, go home, wait for the sale to be over, right? It's not how it works. I like the fact that you're out there and actually specializing in this, something that you've had success on, and collaborating with the BoXZY folks again, by the way, kind of brings a tear to the eye because just like the first time around, you guys were all getting to know each other, but now you're going to have better success because you have better communication.
Absolutely.
Right? Now we're doing it all over again with the customers knowing BoXZY. You know BoXZY. BoXZY knows you. I mean, everything is now set for an improvement over the last go. And the last go was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's totally bringing it home. I mean, BoXZY was the first Kickstarter I've ever done. Joel and Justin, I mean, they gave me a chance out of the clear blue. I'd never even had experience with, doing any type of marketing or social media help or anything like that.
Hang on. You mentioned Justin. Please let Justin know he was he's welcome to come in here. I mean, I know we always schedule these for when he can't make it, and that's unfortunate. But anyway, please continue.
Yeah, so I'll be forever grateful for them taking a chance on me, and then having that resounding success. I knew I'd always have that in my back pocket.
Yeah,
and parting with my last job was very difficult and painful for me. But moving forward, having this be as, my first project back is just so elating. And, there was a huge learning curve to how Kickstarter worked. There was a huge learning curve in how to communicate on a small size team.
Yeah.
That, we didn't have like crazy resources that we could just pull from. There's
and again, nobody knew anybody.
Exactly.
You didn't know them. Customers didn't know you. I mean, the fact that you set the record that you set back then is amazing when you think about the fact that it was all fresh territory.
Exactly. So moving forward, moving into this campaign, it's great that, both Joel and Hadley and I, we all know each other. And, I know the rest of the BoXZY team. It's great that we're familiar with our customer. It's great that we know we're all so ingrained in the Pittsburgh community, because I think at the end of the day, Pittsburgh and the maker community here will be the ones that'll raise us to the top.
I think that's a great way to end. Uh-oh, wait.
So actually, I want to give a shout out to Pittsburgh.
Do it.
So I was thinking about something the other day about Pittsburgh specifically. We've got all these. I'm really happy that BoXZY is in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
We haven't had a lot of financial contributions from Pittsburgh itself.
Hint. Sorry, I had to.
Hint, yeah.
Yeah.
But Pittsburgh is a place that is, I think, rather unique in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
When you look out at the nation right now, everybody's bickering over specific details and trying to get their own interests met, and there's a lot of conflict.
Yeah.
But when you come to Pittsburgh, the people here are trying to build a community. Everywhere you go, they're like, let's build Pittsburgh. Let's build Pittsburgh. And every company is contributing to that.
I do think, though, you need to lean on people in the local area. I mean, if a company's own backyard isn't supporting it. It's a lot harder. And I can't imagine why, except for the fact that, it's just kind of been overlooked, right? There's a lot of buzz around here right now, and it's just hard to rise above that, right?
Yeah, we need something. Pittsburgh right now. So I would say that if we were going to have a big ask from this show, it'd be like, get on and support our campaign, because the greatest contributor to success is initial upfront backing. So if we can rally our community and they can support us, especially at the very start of our campaign, we will for sure do very well, and we could be the most funded 3D printer Kickstarter.
So here's what we're going to do for you. Please let us know before it comes out. I know it's not that far off, but and we'll push it out through our social media channels, and we'll do our part to make sure that Pittsburgh shows up. All right. I can't promise anything, but if you had to pick a 3D printer company, why wouldn't you pick the one that was also throwing in the smart carver, the laser? And then you've got, we've got this new product that I'm not allowed to know anything about, right? But good people trying to do the right thing, even if they're slurping in my microphone. Come on, give it to us one more time. Let's hear it. All right, that's the end of the ride. Thanks, BoXZY. Thanks, Olga. Thanks, Anna. I appreciate the different ideas that we were able to corral together here. I'll tell you, there's a lot going on, and I'm really glad that BoXZY's doing as well as they are. Watch for their Kickstarter. We'll push it out there to help them out a little bit. This is really, a local company that I can get behind. Otherwise, hit us up on the social channels. Make sure you check us out there. Visit the website if you feel like it, pitchwerks.com, Pitchwerks. And otherwise, I don't know, just hang out. There's going to be another episode in about a week. Connect with us then.
The Pitchwerks podcast comes to you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a production of the Epicast Network and McTaggart, LLC. Engineering and production by Buzzy Torek and Nick Miller. For more information, show feedback, and ad sales, visit pitchwerks.com. Pitchwerks.com. On social media, find and follow the show on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram using that same brand name, Pitchwerks.